WP Gears channels. Tim Streifler and David Blackman here with WP Gears and WP the podcast. And if you didn't see our last live stream, we are recording new episodes for WP the podcast. We took a short 9-month break and we're back at it again to relaunch the podcast. And we have some exciting episodes planned. And and so we started a new thing where we're recording live. And so if you happen to be watching a live stream, you get the episodes live and kind of see behind the scenes and see what our process looks like. And so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start recording. We're not monitoring the chat. So come say hello and we'll look at it later. But in order to kind of stay focused on the recording, we don't have it open at this moment in time. So we have no idea if anyone's even watching, but come say hello.
Awesome. I'm watching, Tim. I'm just confirming that we're live in all the places. And
there we go. Good.
And we are live in all the places. So we're good. All right. Yeah, we're going to we're just going to dive right into episodes and stuff today because Tim and I have a lot of work to do and we're busy beyond just the podcast. So we want to try to get some stuff knocked out so that we can move on to the next thing. Course stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Tim, we're in episode 615, shared hosting, VPS, dedicated.
Yep.
How do we want to tackle this one? Remind me again real quick. You want to define what the 3 types are, and then we dive into the cons and obviously the pros of each and stuff?
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. Well, I'll let you be the resident definer, and I'll do all the other stuff. So
perfect.
All right. Hitting record in 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today in episode 615, we're going to talk about shared hosting versus VPS or virtual private server and dedicated server. So we're all the rave about hosting today. And Tim, why don't you let us know the difference between those 3 options?
Yeah, absolutely. So shared hosting is probably the most common hosting, most popular hosting, and it can be okay for really small websites where you don't need anything specific or particular. And so shared hosting is essentially a server, and the hosting company will cram typically hundreds of websites on one server. And so it's called shared because you're sharing that server space with hundreds of other sites, and you're also sharing those resources. So the bandwidth, the storage, all the other things, server resources that are a part of hosting. So it's all shared. Now, VPS stands for virtual private server. And a virtual private server it's one server that's partitioned and segmented into separate areas. And so even though you're technically sharing the server with other websites, you have a guaranteed allotment of resources that aren't affected by other websites on the server. And so it's called a virtual private server because of that fact. So it's kind of like a server within a server. And then dedicated server is you have literally the entire server to yourself. There's no one else on it. You have the entire server, all the storage, all the bandwidth, all the resources, everything is completely yours. And so those are kind of the 3 main differences. There's also cloud servers, cloud hosting, which we'll save for another episode. But shared hosting, VPS, and dedicated are the 3 most common different hosting environments.
Awesome. What are some of the cons and pros of going with each? And we're going to start with shared, since that was the first one that Tim defined and stuff. And one of the cons of shared hosting is I'm going to go with the potential to be hacked. I'm going to let you do noisy neighbor and stuff, Tim, because you talk about that really well. So one of the downsides of, you can be the best, most efficient WordPresser in the world. You can be doing everything 100% correct. You can be backing up your website, making it secure, changing your permalinks and your slugs to make sure not using admin as your username, and just going on WordPress best practices. The downside is in a shared environment, because you're sharing all of those resources and you're on one server, you're only as secure and good as your neighbor, the person that's right next to you. So
Yeah.
even though you're doing everything by the book and correct, you can still be potentially vulnerable to being hacked. Because let's say Jim Bob got his first WordPress website and he set it up and he doesn't know, and it's just fun for him, he's looking for the most inexpensive hosting, which is typically shared, and he just throws his website on there, and then guess what, he leaves it alone and forgets about it and says, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm hunting now, or I'm fishing, and my website's over there. Well, WordPress is updating, plugins are updating, but Jim Bob's site's not getting updated. There's a big security vulnerability that comes out, and next thing you know, you're vulnerable. So shared can be kind of risky. That's one of the biggest cons, is you're only as secure as the other websites on your server.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've fallen victim to that. I did everything right on shared hosting and I got hacked because, as David mentioned, you're only as secure as the other sites on your server. So if there's 100 websites, that means only one out of those 99 need to be infected to infect you and everyone else there. And I've fallen victim to that multiple times on Jeep shared hosting, and I'll never go back because of that. So yeah, David alluded to the noisy neighbor issue, which is another major con of shared hosting. And just like you're only as secure as the other sites on your website, you're only as fast as the other websites will let you be. And what I mean by that is you might have a server that has a decent amount of resources, and in general, it's typically pretty fast and everything seems to be running pretty smooth. But if all of a sudden one of the websites on that server has the Oprah effect, right, or the Shark Tank effect, where they're getting national or international
Recognition.
recognition, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All of a sudden their website just gets blasted and is getting a ton of traffic, and now all of a sudden it's using up all the resources on that server, so now you're not getting anything. And so in the server space, they refer to that as the noisy neighbor issue, because you have a neighbor on the site that is taking up all the bandwidth and it affects you. And so you even though you only need a small amount of resources, if another site or several other sites are using up a ton, it's going to take it away from you. And so it's shared server space. It's also shared resources. So that's a major con.
Yeah, and I know that it looks really appealing, the price points, because as you go up, virtual private servers typically a little bit more expensive than shared. And even as you scale up to the dedicated side, obviously, think about it, a hosting company has 100 clients on one server versus only one person on that server. They have to be able to justify the cost of the server and stuff. So obviously it's going to be much more expensive. Now, I'm of the adage of you get what you pay for. And
Yeah.
I like Tim, started out in shared hosting. I had a Bluehost reseller account. As a matter of fact, I still have it. I'm grandfathered in. Bluehost discontinued reseller accounts in, I want to say it was 2014. So like 6 years ago, they quit it. However, they allowed you to keep your reseller account because they had unlimited sites, unlimited whatever for $30 a month. I mean, come on. Unlimited is a misnomer. It's not a truth. There are no such thing. There is no such thing as true unlimited. There's resources are limited and stuff. So they did away with it, but I kept it, and I started on shared, and then I moved to VPS with A2 hosting several years ago, and it worked really well for us. But as our company and business and traffic continued to grow, we ultimately ended up, with dedicated servers. And I know Tim has a similar story. And, I'll never go back. I mean, the cost, justifies, what we're getting and stuff. It is more expensive, but, it's quite a bit more expensive. Dedicated is a lot more expensive. And in order to justify a dedicated server, you really need to have like a high traffic e-commerce website or making enough money to justify that. So I think we have currently between 5 and 7 dedicated servers now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just where our business has scaled and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I would say because we talked about the pros and cons of each. Most of the cons are related to shared hosting. I would say
Yeah.
the con for dedicated is the cost, as
Yeah.
you alluded to, David. However, if you can justify it, it is more than
Yeah.
worth it. So, like David said, if it's a high traffic e-commerce site, well, you're making money with your website. You better believe that it's going to be worth it. And same thing if you have a ton of clients and you want to put your clients on your dedicated server and your clients are paying you maintenance and hosting fees, okay, well, again, it's going to more than pay for it. But if you just have a personal blog or something like that and you don't get a ton of traffic, it's more of a hobby, well, don't buy a dedicated server just because it's the best. It's just a waste of money.
Awesome. All right, Tim. I think have we covered shared VPS and dedicated
I
sufficiently
think so.
enough?
One thing I will add is we're going to talk about in the next episode managed WordPress hosting, and so stay tuned for that. And we'll definitely compare kind of what we're talking about today, traditional hosting versus managed. But I would say kind of the winner of shared hosting versus VPS versus dedicated, kind of the all-around winner, I would say, is VPS because you get guaranteed resources. It's a server within a server. You don't have the noisy neighbor, the sideway hacks, and all of those types of things that you do with shared hosting, but it's also a lot more affordable than dedicated. So if you want a winner,
Absolutely.
that's one I would say is the winner.
Yeah, unless you have a high traffic e-commerce website,
Correct.
go dedicated.
Exactly.
Bite the bullet. Don't cheap out. Tim and I talk about this all the time. You know, if you're serious about your business, you really need to be serious about your hosting. Hosting is the foundation. It's the most important thing in your business. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Smiling, Tim, you're laughing.
I'm laughing because I don't know if I should say this publicly on the episode, David, but David's company is coming out with hosting. They're building their own hosting company. Hope that's okay to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
publicly, David.
Absolutely. We've technically launched it. It's in beta. So, it's specifically geared towards the Divi theme. Obviously, Tim and I are big WordPress guys, but we're heavily entrenched in the Divi community, and that's kind of where we started, and we create products for it. So it just kind of made logical sense for us to, go ahead and start a Divi hosting company. But it's WordPress as a whole. So
Yeah.
if you have a WordPress website and you want a great host, come check us out, divispace.com. So yeah.
And the reason why I was smiling, David, is I think that what you just said, which is one of your catchphrases, we both have our certain catchphrases of things we say a lot, whether it's on here or in Divi Chat or in our course. One of the things that David says, that's one of his catchphrases, is if you're serious about your business, you need to be serious about your hosting, which I think you need to put on a shirt with your new Divi hosting logo by DiviSpace or, whatever
That's
the
a
name
great
is.
idea, man. That's a great idea. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks. All right. Well, tomorrow, like Tim said, we've got another great episode. 616 managed WordPress hosting versus traditional hosting. We're going to give you the pros and cons and hopefully help you figure out which one might be best for you. So be sure to join us tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And 3, 2, 1. All right. Hey, Stephanie, I saw that you jumped on the Facebook and said hi. Sup, homies. Just wanted to acknowledge if you're watching this and we're in between recording episodes right now, we're going to address it. If you're catching us live, we're recording some WP the podcast. We're doing some different things. And we just wanted to, so if we're not engaging with you, we're not ignoring you. We love you. We are super happy that you're here joining us as we record these episodes. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. WP the podcast, if you're not familiar, is mine and David's daily WordPress podcast brought to you by WP Gears, which is our WordPress education platform where we have our courses and content. And so, yeah, we've been on a short 9-month break, and we are back recording more episodes, and they're going to be officially published on starting Monday, June 15th, and then every day after that into eternity, hopefully.
You just reminded me, Tim, I've been doing the intro wrong. Dang it. Fortunately, only a couple of episodes into our new seasons and stuff. So I'm going to do it right this time. I promise you.
Okay.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I am ready.
Hitting record in 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of WP the Bot Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Almost said podcast. Hey, we might have started something here, Tim. A podcast.
Podcast.
You don't want, trust me, you don't want me giving the podcast. Maybe Tim, but not
I
Dave.
don't know. I am, my wife's pregnant, so by default, I will be sporting the dad bod very shortly. So I don't know if you want me on the podcast either.
All right. Today we're going to talk about managed hosting versus traditional hosting. Hosting has kind of been the theme for the last few episodes because, when we started back, we decided to cover, topics that are very much discussed a lot in the WordPress community, obviously with website building and website managing, and even just websites in general. Hosting is a great topic to cover. So we wanted to touch on today, managed hosting versus traditional hosting, and kind of give some pros and cons to kind of maybe help you decide or determine which might be best for you. So before we get this episode kicked off, I think Tim's going to let us know the difference between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. So traditional hosting, as we covered yesterday on episode 615, is shared hosting, VPS dedicated, and so forth. Managed WordPress hosting came out, I don't know, 5 years ago or so. I don't remember the exact time frame, but essentially managed WordPress hosting is premium hosting for WordPress. It's typically has additional tools built in. So WP Engine, they're the ones that kind of pioneered the managed WordPress concept. And basically, it comes with automated backups, and then you can do manual one-click backups. It has one-click staging. It has extra security built in at the server level, extra caching built in at the server level. And so it eliminates the need for a lot of extra things such as backup, security, caching plugins, stuff like that. And they have kind of their own proprietary control panel in the back end and all that. So and then additionally, it's called managed because they monitor stuff. And so they're constantly looking at the server and running scans and different things like that. I had an example where I was on WP Engine, which their default plan is technically shared. And I'm going to talk about why it's different than traditional shared in a second. But it's technically shared and started to get more and more traffic. My e-commerce business was growing. My traffic was growing. And so WP Engine was monitoring that. And then they saw that, hey, I was taking up more resources than I should have been. My website flagged some automated code in their system. And so they moved me off onto my own server and then basically, talked to me about it. And I ended up upgrading to a dedicated. And so they manage those things to catch those things early on. And if they're seeing that a site's getting a brute force attack, they'll step in and intervene and different things like that. And so they're constantly monitoring those things. And that's what makes it managed in addition to the tools. And so the reason why I said WP Engine specifically is technically shared. It's not traditional shared, where traditional shared is completely shared resources and stuff like that. WP Engine has some technology built into their shared environments where you're not able to use up resources unless the other websites aren't using them. And so if the other websites aren't using their resources, their system will allow you to use some of the unused resources on the shared website. But if the websites are using it, then they're not going to let you use that, and they're going to tell you that you need to, move to a higher plan, or they'll move you to a different server altogether, maybe one that isn't, that does have some unused resources. And so again, it's technically shared, but it's managed. So it's quite a bit different, more powerful, and just a better experience overall. And then Flywheel, another very popular managed WordPress solution, is they don't do shared. Everything is a VPS. And so you have your own VPS when you create an account. And so that's how Flywheel is different, but it still falls into that category of managed hosting.
Awesome. Well, Tim, I didn't hear a thing you said.
Should I start over?
No, 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 no. Don't start over. Um, I was replying to some people that were watching the live stream, so that they, our audio cut out. So we're recording locally. So even if our audio cuts out on our live stream, we're still have the audio on here. So yeah, managed hosting versus traditional hosting, is, I guess where I want to start, Tim, is, in your opinion, what's the best for someone to do? I'm a new guy. I got a website, and I'm thinking about hosting and stuff. And man, should I go managed or should I go traditional?
So I think it would depend on what your goals are and what your website is being used for. As David famously says, if you're serious about your business, you need to be serious about your hosting. And so, if this is a business website and you plan on growing your traffic and stuff like that, I would say skip traditional hosting and go straight to a managed WordPress host such as WP Engine, Flywheel, the soon to be
Space.
hosting by DiviSpace. Yeah, don't worry, I was going to get there. And go right to the managed, because you're going to get a lot more for your money, in terms of not just getting more reliable, more secure hosting, but also the additional tools built in, like automatic backups, one-click staging, WordPress specific security built in, server level caching, those types of things. And so I would recommend one of those three, WP Engine, Flywheel, or hosting by DiviSpace.
I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out there, Tim, and you can tell me what your thoughts on this are. I think you should always go with a managed host, unless there's one caveat where I feel like you could go, traditional hosting, but if it were me, I'm going dedicated traditional hosting. And that's only if you have the technical prowess to do it yourself. If you understand hosting and servers and you're an IT guy and you can manage it yourself, then absolutely go for it. Do it yourself. It comes down to time. Time is money. Do I want to manage it myself, or do I want to have someone else manage it for me and stuff? I think your technical experience is going to play into which one you choose, managed versus traditional as well. But I'm going to say, at the end of the day, time is our most valued resource, and it is money. So if you're managing the hosting, you're really not growing your business. So I think I'm going with it. I'm calling it. Always go with managed hosting, because like Tim said, what are you getting? My site crashes, it goes down. With a managed host, they have a full backup of your site, and it can be back up within minutes. If you're managing it yourself, if you're in shared hosting, unless you are doing all of these best practices, security updates, backups, all of that stuff, you could be kind of in a mess if you're not. So I'm calling it. Managed hosting is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely agree with that. And I'm kind of, I fall into that category where, I might have the technical skill to do my own hosting, management, and all of that, but I don't have the time. And so I have a dedicated server with WP Engine, and they're doing all those stuff for me. They're doing the monitoring. They're, I can get on with account manager and talk different things if something's not loading fast and I need to figure out a way to speed things up and stuff. And I have done that multiple times, and they're able to, they have a specific team that focuses on performance, and they'll do an audit of your site and help you figure out what you need to do to get your website loading faster. And they'll do a scan and show you what percentage of your site is cacheable content versus non-cacheable and stuff like that. And so to me, it's like I spend a fortune on dedicated hosting with WP Engine, but it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
worth its weight in gold. So definitely highly recommend it. I also do have an account with traditional hosting with SiteGround that I use for demo sites and dev sites and stuff like that because it's an unlimited plan. And as David mentioned yesterday in episode 615, shared hosting versus VPS and dedicated, we talked about how unlimited isn't really unlimited. They do cap you at bandwidth and stuff like that, but you can technically have as many sites as you need, not unlimited resources.
I totally agree. One last thing that I want to say on this, and this has to do with pricing and stuff and cost of managed hosting versus traditional hosting. Typically, yes, traditional hosting is going to be less expensive unless you're going dedicated server. But let's talk about it. If you're in business, if you can't afford a managed host, which one website on most managed hosts averaged about $25 a month, that's $300 a year. If you can't handle, afford $300 a year for a managed host with everything that you're going to get, including the peace of mind to know that your website is taken care of 100%, then you probably need to think of a new business idea because it's not that expensive. Now, if you're comparing shared hosting and you see some of these things, $3 a month or whatever for the first 2 years, you got to really think about what you're getting versus the 25. I mean, $25 a month is nothing to have peace of mind. $300 a year is the most important investment you're going to make for your, online business. So it's the foundation. So consider that. Don't let price scare you away and stuff. You get what you pay for. So
Yeah. You get what you pay for. And then also, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There's a reason why it's only $3 a month.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Tomorrow we've got another great topic for you on WP the podcast. Should you do paid courses to level up your web design game? Tim and I are course creators. We have several courses in the marketplace. We're working on our latest course right now. And we've been asked a lot, should I invest in courses to take my web design and development to the next level? And come back tomorrow and tune in and you'll find out what we have to say. Tim, until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.
3, 2, 1. Lost my audio recording there for a minute. It's buried under browser and Zoom and everything else. In case you're wondering, I normally have multiple monitors, but my children like to steal my monitors to hook to their Xbox and play video games because Dad has, a really nice monitor and the FPS is really better for them. So I'm down to one monitor right now because my 13-year-old is a big Fortnite lover. So yeah.
I love that. He brought his Xbox. He prioritized what's important, but then he goes and takes Dad's monitor.
Oh yeah, yeah. He lives in Austin, so he comes quite a few times a year, and he's here for a lot of the summer. So he's got to bring his stuff,
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, love it.
Let's see here. Let me save this episode, Tim. And our audio wasn't fine. That was just Stephanie's. She thinks it was some issues on her end. So Stephanie, we appreciate you having our back and looking out for us, letting us know that, if something's not coming through. I've actually got YouTube and Facebook open, and comparatively speaking, my internet was terrible, and I got new internet hooked up on Friday. So seems to be working just fine.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any breaking up lagginess at all.
All right, I'm going to close the YouTube because it doesn't seem like there's any comments there and stuff. So, all right. Carlos says, "Yep, managed is the way to go it's a solution for everything." Thank you, Carlos.
Yes.
All right.
Carlos
Are we ready
is
for the
one of
next one?
Carlos is one of my technical support heroes over at Divi Life. So shout out to
Dang
you,
it, Tim.
Carlos.
Man, you're supposed to. It's it's like saying that's my mom. We don't want people knowing only the ones that work for us and our moms watch and listen. I'm just playing. All right. Are we ready? Let's see here. Should you do paid courses? Well, we can. You want to just alternate? Boom, boom, boom.
Sure.
I'll let you. Since we have 5 there, I'll let you start so we can. we can. Unless you want 2 versus 3.
I don't care. Yeah, whatever.
Let me see here. Yeah, I'm gonna let you do. I'm gonna let you start again. All right.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Hitting record in 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today in episode 617, we're going to talk about whether or not you should do paid courses to level up your web design game. Tim, what's your opinion? I'm going to let you start.
Yeah. Now, full disclosure, David and I are course creators, so we're a little bit biased, but we're going to try to give you some solid facts here from our own experience and just kind of some good general knowledge on this subject, because the topic does come up. It's like, should I just learn stuff for free on YouTube, doing Google searches, reading blog posts, stuff like that, or should I actually pay for a premium course instead of doing that? And so, in our opinion, when you pay for a premium course, you get a consistent and clear path to whatever the objective might be. So in mine and David's case, we have a Divi business course, a Divi WordPress business course, and their clear path is to show you how to build a long-term sustainable business, how to get clients, how to get recurring revenue within your business. And so the clear path is to show you how to do that. When you're learning from free resources like YouTube and blog articles and you're Googling stuff, it's what I like to call buffet learning, which is you're taking a little bit from this person, taking a little bit from this person, a little bit from this person. And not that that's necessarily bad, but you're missing all the in-between stuff. And so this person might have a good idea, but doesn't necessarily mesh well with this other person's tip over here, because they're not meant to go together. And so it's the kind of the concept of you don't know what you don't know. But when you're getting consistent and clear direction from one instructor or one pair of instructors like me and David, you're able to learn the things that we're teaching that maybe you don't realize is the important part of the learning.
Number 2 reasons why you should potentially, do paid courses is, when you pay for something, it gives you some quote unquote skin in the game. You're more likely to implement some of the strategies that are recommended and taught as opposed to not when you have money invested. It just makes sense. If you're going to, if you want someone to be serious, you want to find out how serious someone is about something, ask them to pony up some cash to find out whether or not they're really serious about taking their learning to the next level and stuff. And typically with a paid course, it means you're in that zone. You want to take your stuff, your learning and your knowledge to the next level and stuff. And by paying for something, it gives you some skin in the game, and you're more likely to implement what you've learned as opposed to maybe watching a YouTube video. And yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next reason why you should do paid courses to level up your web design game is accountability and community with other students. And so, for example, when you're kind of out there learning on your own and taking bits and pieces from different things and stuff, there's no community, and there's no accountability. There's no one to ask questions to and stuff like that. And we've come to learn that those are some of the things that our students value the most, or maybe those are some of the things that we didn't realize that they would value as much as they do in the course. Like, yes, the content is kind of the bread and butter of the course, but being able to ask questions to for me and David, and then also get feedback from other students, like that's invaluable, and that's a huge part of the education and learning experience is getting that. And so without a structured course, you're missing out.
All right. Next on our list of reasons why is the ability to ask instructors questions from someone that's been there. So Tim and I, for example, we do live coaching calls with our students once a week. When we launch a new class for the course or something, we'll have 8 weeks of live coaching calls. And on these calls, we give our students the ability to get clarification, to ask us any question that's related to WordPress or their business. It doesn't matter if it's technical or, like I said, business related. A lot of them struggle with sales and stuff. So, having the ability to communicate and ask someone face to face, hey, and present situations that you come up against in your real life business, day-to-day business, it's huge. Yes, you can ask your friends, and yes, you can ask other people, and it's really important to have mentors and stuff like that. But when you do a paid course, you're actually getting direct access to those instructors to answer questions that you're struggling with, that you probably bought the course for to begin with. So for example, building a business in WordPress and Divi, you know we cover everything from the very basics of what type of hosting you should get, all the way to pipelines and closings and presentations and contracts and agreements and insurance and all this stuff that's like you may not even be thinking about, but you need. You have the ability to ask instructors these questions right on off the bat.
Yeah, and that's something to really look into when you are evaluating courses, is how much access do you get to the instructors, and is there a actual formal method of being able to ask whatever questions you want. Like David mentioned, we have the coaching calls and stuff. And so the reason I say that is there's some courses where it's like, yes, you are paying, you are investing in it, you are getting a consistent and clear path of learning, but there's no community, there's no question and answer time, or no way to reach out and ask questions. And so the instructors are basically just cashing in and cashing the checks without doing the other things that should be involved with learning from a paid course. So the
Absolutely.
last thing on our list here, kind of a bonus reason of why you should do paid courses to level up your web design game, is the added credibility that you get with the completed course, and the certificate that often comes with it. And so being able to say that you completed this course over here with this reputable company, and you have the necessary training to be able to take on these projects and stuff like that, that's invaluable. And so that's something I never really realized how important it was until hearing the feedback from students and the questions that they would ask regarding getting a certificate and stuff like that. And am I allowed to say that I took this course on my website? And obviously the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And so, that's something that we didn't anticipate being as important to people as it is.
Yeah, and it just makes sense, I mean, when you have that stamp of approval, so like WordPress, certificate or learning, Google Analytics, when you've got that branded, recognizable badge that says, "Hey, I'm an expert in this because I have completed," and you don't get these things unless you complete the course and stuff. So if you buy a course, don't think you're getting the certificate just because, at least from us anyways. You have to actually go through the course, complete it, and answer a certain percentage of questions and get them right. So that allows your customers and people that you're presenting to and stuff to, safety and security, to know that you actually are an expert in this field and stuff. So yeah. So go out, buy some paid courses, and come on over and buy ours if you want, and join us in our live coaching calls. We do some pretty awesome stuff. We've got a
Yeah.
great community and some amazing students and stuff who have really been just killing it and stuff. And it's been awesome to see and stuff.
Yeah.
So
WPgears.com.
tomorrow we've got another great topic: why WooCommerce is the best e-commerce platform in the world. Tim, just try me. I'm going to convince you why that is tomorrow. So
Hey, I'm on the same page there, buddy.
I know. I'm just messing. I gotta build it up for the audience. So
Yeah. Build the suspense.
build the suspense. All right. Well, until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And 3, 2, 1. Boom. right.
I'm ready when you are, David.
Hitting record in 3, 2, 1, and 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today, we're going to talk about why WooCommerce is the best e-commerce platform in the world. Tim, I think I'm starting today. We didn't even
Do it.
plan on how we were going to do this, so we're going to do it live. I'm going to go ahead and start. One reason why WooCommerce is the best e-commerce platform in the world is it's the most popular. They own 30% of the market share. WordPress is huge. More websites are built on the WordPress platform than any other platform in the world. And WooCommerce is owned by the company that owns WordPress, Automatic. Hence, there's more e-commerce, more WooCommerce platform websites built than any of the other. Matter of fact, I want to say it's some crazy stat like all of them combined don't even come close to what the market share that WooCommerce has. I could be mistaken, but I think I'm right on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, 30% market share. Last I heard, it could be more now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of benefits that come with that, which means there's an extension for WooCommerce for pretty much anything you can think of. And then there's so many developers that know WooCommerce that are writing tutorials and snippets and stuff like that. And so because it's so popular, there's an unlimited amount of resources and support that you can get because of it. And the next reason is open source. It means you can do anything you want. On other platforms like Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, it's a proprietary platform. It's locked. You don't get to choose what you want on there. They have a plugin or app store or whatever they call it, and you can add different functionality, but only if it's been officially added and approved by them, stuff like that. You can't just hire a developer to go and code whatever you want. With WooCommerce, it's open source. You can do literally anything you want. You own it. You can do, you can completely change it if you want. You could add your own functionality. It's completely up to you. You own the platform.
Matter of fact, you could even fork it if you have that development chops and build your own e-commerce based off of it if you can make it better.
Yeah, WooCommerce actually started as a fork. It was a fork of another e-commerce plugin for WordPress, and WooCommerce forked it, created WooCommerce. WooThemes forked it because they created themes before they created WooCommerce, and then that's kind of the story of how it began.
Yeah, wonderful world of open source. Gotta love it. All right, last but not least is WooCommerce is free, sort of. The basic WooCommerce install for WordPress is free. You can go download WooCommerce in the repository, install it, and have a fully functional e-commerce website. Now, is that going to be and meet all of the needs that you may have for your business? Probably not. But the good news is, as Tim said, there are lots of developers out there who have created amazing third-party products for WooCommerce. My company being one of them, Aspen Grove Studios, we have a line of WooCommerce products, Product Sales Report Pro, export order items. We have probably about 10 WooCommerce specific plugins that are in the repository. We have free versions as well as paid versions of most of them, and they have tens of thousands of installs and stuff. So yeah, it's free. Like we said, sort of.
Yeah.
If you want to
actually, we skipped number 3 though.
Oh, we did? Oh.
Yeah, so with WooCommerce, another benefit is you own your content, you own the customers, everything else. I kind of talked about open source, meaning you can do whatever you want. But when another benefit of WooCommerce is everything belongs to you, right? If you're locked into Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, you're locked into their proprietary platform. And so moving your site from Shopify to somewhere else is a pain. But with WooCommerce, you can move it to any server you want. You can download all the content. You can make your own proprietary platform if you want. Like, you own everything.
Yeah.
So
that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
I looked at that. Sorry about that, Tim. And I saw you said you're not locked into the proprietary, and you talked about, and I thought you were covering 1, 2, and 3 at the same time.
I did kind of overlap. Yeah.
Yeah, so I blazed on. I was just rolling with it. Here's the benefits of seeing how we do it live and stuff. We sometimes even, kind of bypass and miss some things, but Tim is 100% correct. That's to me, that's the most important thing on the list is you own your own content and stuff. That's huge. It's a really big thing. It's funny. We sent out an email blast today, AspenGroveStudios.com, or DiviSpace, actually, the beginner's guide to WooCommerce order reports. So we just wrote a big blog post on creating, reporting and stuff with WooCommerce. So, and we put out a lot of content and stuff on around WooCommerce. So if you're interested, go check it out. Tomorrow we've got another great topic: why you should develop websites locally. It's probably going to be mostly Tim talking. I'm just letting you know. So if you want to hear Tim, come listen to tomorrow's episode.
Nice.
Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye bye.
3, 2, 1. If you are tuning into this live on YouTube or Facebook and you're wondering what the hell are these two yahoos doing and what are they talking about, we decided to do our WP the podcasts live. We're trying some new things. We want to just kind of put our content, and this is kind of behind the scenes. So you're getting to see the good, the bad, and unfortunately, sometimes the ugly as well. So if
Yeah.
you're commenting and saying hi, and we're not ignoring you, we're just kind of zoned in and we're not really paying attention to the live streams. We do go back and review them afterwards if you've asked any questions and stuff.
Yeah, David. And on that note, we probably shouldn't reference the live stream during the recording because people that are listening to the recording probably don't realize what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I know. Whew. All right. This is the last episode that we're going to record today. It's episode 619, Why You Should Develop Websites Locally. Tim, how do we want to do this one? I'm going to.
I'll do a
feel like
definition of kind of what it is, and then
Yeah.
you can do the first one, or I
I'm,
could do the first one. It's up to you.
I'm going to do the second one. You do the first and third. I'm doing the second one. I feel like I could talk to any of these points, but and then you can, if I miss something that you need to add on to it, feel free to do that, Tim.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
this is
good.
going to be a technical topic, by the way, and Tim is our technical, guy. So, all right, ready?
I am ready.
Hitting record in 3, 2, 1, and 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today, we're going to talk about why you should consider developing websites locally. Tim, why don't you tell our audience what that means?
Yeah. So developing locally is when you use your local computer as a server, essentially. So traditionally, when you're building a website, you are connecting to a server, right? And you're logged into your WordPress admin website on that server. And when you're saving, you're making changes. Your browser is, you click save and it's going up to the server and then it's saving. Well, when you're developing locally, you're using some sort of a software that's allowing you to turn your local computer into essentially a server, which means it's faster, more secure. We're going to talk all about that. But in a second here, I'm not going to step on those points that we haven't gotten to. But that's essentially what developing locally means. And there's a lot of benefits that come with it. And so the first one is developing locally saves you time because it's faster processing. So, right. So because you're not saving to the internet, your browser's not connecting via the internet to a server that might be in a different state or even a different country even. And so because of that, it saves a lot of time. When you click save, it's like instant. Additionally, it's really fast to spin up websites. If you're using a tool like Local by Flywheel, which by the way is our recommended tool for local development, you can create a new site within seconds, and you can even clone sites and do all these different things rather than having to go through a cPanel or your hosting account to spin up a new site and wait for it to be provisioned and all that. It happens almost instantly. And so you save a ton of time developing locally.
Second point is developing locally is more secure and private. Obviously, if you're doing it on your computer at home, you're not it's not connected, that environment's not connected to the internet like a web server is. So it's going to be more secure and much more private. Obviously your computer's connected to the internet, so technically I guess if there's some IT guys out there that are saying BS, but guess what I'm going to say? I could unplug that internet cable to my computer and still work on my website locally on my machine. And therein lies the thing. It's more secure and private.
Yeah, and that actually leads well into the third point here. Developing locally allows you to build your website without having an internet connection. So, for example, if you are on an airplane flying, you don't have internet, you don't want to pay for the Wi-Fi, the expensive airplane Wi-Fi.
Sucks
Well, you
anyways.
can, yeah, it's very slow and very inconsistent. And so you can essentially build your website or build a website without an internet connection. Now, certain things might get difficult if you need to go and find different design assets and stuff like that. But you can actually work on the site without internet, which is pretty cool.
Well, a couple of other tools that we recommend checking out. If you obviously Flywheel is our number one choice, but also there's a great company out there in the WordPress community, and they do a lot at WordCamps and stuff. Is ServerPress. So if you want to actually set up your own local environment and stuff, you can check out ServerPress as well. But as Tim said, Flywheel is pretty easy. I mean, click, click, boom, and you're done. So I think, as a non-tech person, Flywheel is even easier than ServerPress and stuff because messing with command lines sometimes is not fun. So, all right. Tomorrow we've got another great topic. Tim, until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.
3, 2, 1.
That was
Boom.
our shortest one of this new season.
Maybe we should go to seasons, huh, Tim? I thought about that today. It was like as I was talking and introducing, I almost called it a season. And I guess maybe should we, should we call it a season? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Sorry, I was listening to the recording.
I don't have Zoom open, so I can't see, and it's quiet. He's not answering me. I thought, maybe Tim done. We're done, and he went home already.
I pieced out. I went and jumped in the pool because it's like 80, 87 degrees here.
Right. Boom.
No, I'm still here.
I'm just double checking my recordings, Tim. Seems like everyone is working so far. Yep, all good. All good in the hood. I'm going to upload them to Google Drive. Well, if you've watched us and this entire live stream, checking it out and stuff, we really appreciate you seeing behind the scenes recording episodes of WP the podcast.
Yeah, and in case you're interested, we use Zoom basically just for the conversation so we can hear each other, but we record our audio separately in order to get the highest quality possible. And then we upload the files to Google Drive. Our podcast editor will go in and grab those files and edit them together along with the intro and cut out any blips or parts where we talk over each other, which doesn't happen too often these days. And that's how the podcast is produced. Oh, and then our editor will also go in and put together the WordPress podcast post and get it scheduled out and everything. And so these are going to air, not air. It's not a radio show. These are going to be published starting June 15th, which is this coming Monday. And so if you are a subscriber to WP the podcast, then you'll see those episodes come out. But if you watch behind the scenes, then you don't necessarily have to go and re-listen to them unless you want to.
Tim, can you send me the link to the Google Drive? Because
yeah, 1 second.
I'm not finding it. Let me see here. Maybe if I Google 611. There we go. 614 ways to speed up your website. Oh, no, I still can't get to it. Dang it. Yeah, send me the link, Tim. All right, we're going to end this live stream. What do you think, Tim, in the live stream?
Yeah, sounds good.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you soon next time we record some more episodes. Peace out.
Yeah. Take care.